Just mind here, Peter, for the panel members. The 4 things of what we found, what the study recommends is, number 1, go into India very thoughtfully and very deliberately. Think of the therapeutic areas, for example, pick high burden disease areas, pick the kind of trials you're going to go for. Number 2, go to tier 1 cities. That's where the infrastructure is there, that's where the hospital beds are there, that's where the trained investigators are there. So really focus on tier 1 cities. Number 3, pick some niche areas. There are some regulations like orphan drugs, or if there's already an approved drug outside in the US, Europe, there are some waivers and fast track. Try to take advantage. And 4th and final that we found is really it's building a network of partnerships, whether it's with the Apollos or Medantas, or what Tata's done, or Pfizer's done with Tata in oncology. So really think about the ICMR partnerships, really think about how you can work with trusted partners. That was the study really talks about, and would love to hear from the panel members.
Go to India deliberately. I think India is one of those countries where if you don't do the basics right, you will be penalized for it. And you will be penalized in terms of patient recruitment, in terms of quality, etc. So a few things that I would say is, 1, stop comparing India to China. They're 2 different elements, and they're 2 different animals. So you can't get in India what you may think you're going to get in China and then replicate that. So first is to stop that fallacy, that's 1. Second is do your feasibility, do your patient pathway well. If you don't understand your disease, and if you don't understand the patient progression of that disease and exactly the standard of care and etc., you will find surprises in India. So I would not go into something which is less understood. I would go into India with something that is well understood. That's second. The third is I would make sure you have the infrastructure, either your own or a CRO's. That infrastructure and maturity of that infrastructure is critical, because you don't have that. To say provocatively, if you take a dilettante view to it, then it doesn't work. You have to actually have the maturity there. If you do that, the last thing I think is perhaps the most critical, which is I've never succeeded in going to India if I've not had good buy-in from the appropriate stakeholder, whether it's a franchise head or the development head, or you have to have the buy-in. And you have to do it in partnership. This can't be just leave it with me and I'm going to go there. This has to be done in partnership. That's what I would add to what you just said.
We go into India where it absolutely makes sense. Yeah? And epidemiology is an extremely important part here. And I think that, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of experience around the industry in the same way, is probably the most important measure right now for me to say, okay, we go into India or not.
To run clinical trials, it's to find the patients with the right indication and then to run your studies as quickly as possible and as cost efficiently as possible, right? And that's where India plays in as one of those new countries or geographies that we can go to. We've decided to do is to be very deliberate about the choice of indication and really follow the epidemiology. You brought up chronic kidney disease. That's one of the areas that we'll be starting a late-stage trial in this year. And we've gone out and visited sites just over the last few months. And the Medantas and Apollo systems of this world really stand out as fantastic trial sites with proven track records.
Probably relevant to almost everyone in the room is if you have employees in India, this is incredibly important to them. I have 6,000 employees in India, and when I am there for town halls, they want to see that I'm doing exactly what this panel is doing, educating people on the opportunity to address an underserved market where clinical trials are underrepresented, yet so much of the important work that's happening to actually move drugs forward, is there. And for the CROs of those five companies, we have 47,000 employees in India. So it's truly an opportunity. We've got the talent. We're certainly growing the talent on the clinical side, but it did speak, unfortunately, it just pinpoints it underscores a lot of your data that there's a lot of opportunity for India.